uh, since beginning, April onwards, the things that we are studying will cover our, out of 100 marks, will cover our 80 marks. You know, out of 100, you should know that your final question paper is splitted in two parts. Like this final assessment of 100 marks will be done like 80 plus 20. 80 marks will be asked, will be based on the theory examination, right? And 20 marks will be based on internal assessment. Because the same procedure was there in class 11th also, but you might have been forgotten. So I am reminding you that 20 marks of internal assessment, also there is a split. How it is like this: 10 plus 10. These 10 marks will be based on the tests, and class tests, you can say. This will be based on class tests, whatever test school is conducting. So that is why appearing in each test is very important. Uh, those students are not doing good if you are being absent in one particular test or two tests like that. So board says that out of 3 tests, best 2 average will be taken, right? So that I'll tell you that which tests will be considered for this assessment purpose. That is why the next coming tests also, if you have not performed well in previous test, please next perform well in next coming test, so that if that test marks can give you a good score out of 10. This is one thing. Another, these 10 marks, these will be based on activities, right? And here also there is a split. I tell you how. This 10 marks of activities are splitted as 5 plus 5. This 5 is based on activities done throughout the session. It's record book, etc. on that basis. And this 5 marks are based on, there will be a final assessment day, just like your practical examinations are conducted in physics, chemistry, or biology, computer science, etc. So on the day of examination, one activity will be given and you will be told to perform that activity, and 3 marks will be there for that activity and plus 2 marks will be there for viva. समझे? बात समझ में आई? So all the students, this part is going on well. We were doing, most of the students are now performing well, but this part also we have to complete. So that is why today's session was very important to attend. Now, till now in this session, we have not performed any activity. Now students, let us discuss some of the activities, and they are very easy, very basic things are there. Only we have to perform them. Perform means just like graph, etc. you draw, or whatever observations you note while studying those concepts. Those things only are to be done, but in a systematic manner in the given format. So first activity is as in the physics, chemistry practicals, the headings are there, which you mentioned in your record book. Same headings are there. The first one is objective. Objective for first activity is to verify that the relation, this is based on the chapter relation and functions, R equals to L comma M, where L is perpendicular to M, where L, M are straight lines. This relation is 3 things we have studied: reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So this is symmetric but not reflexive, not transitive. This is our uh, correct. No, this is. Then the next is basic knowledge. So for this, what basic knowledge we may need, students? Hmm? What is to be written? Basic knowledge. Basic knowledge means concept of relations. You should know. What else? Then material needed. What we are going to do, we are going to draw these lines actually, है ना? And some threads, some pins, etc. On the plain paper. One more thing, that as these all activities are to be performed and to be noted in a record book. Record book means one notebook in which one left side plane should be there and the right side may contain lining. So on the plain sheet, you may have to draw these graphs, curves, etc. Sometimes exact graph paper is needed. That time you can draw on the graph paper and that graph sheet can be sticked. Okay, this is material needed is not much, not specific, only some pins, only some threads, etc. Okay. Of course, then scale, etc. we need. Then actually we will draw these lines. So on the what you have to do on the left hand side, which is already blank and plain, there what you do, you just make some points by these pins. Yeah. Suppose this line we have drawn, I'll call it L1, I'll call it L2, I'll call it L3. Okay. The more pins you use, let it be L4. Okay. L4. Some more pins you use, let it be L5. Okay. Like this. Now, so these things only you can write as a procedure. Hello, students. And now, what is our objective? Objective is to prove, to verify actually from these lines. Verify means you can take examples. So I have taken some example here. Example means some certain lines I have taken with the help of these pins. These pins are there, and the threads you can make. More simple, if you want to do, you can draw the lines with the scale and sketch pen. Different they should look. So different color sketch pens you can take. Now you tell me which ones are perpendicular. I have to check perpendicular, so that I can write that which ordered pairs are belonging in this. Ujesh, which ones are perpendicular? Can you tell me? Or anyone in the class? I can tell you that L1 is perpendicular to L4, right? L1 is perpendicular to L5. Hello. These things you can write in observation actually in next heading. Procedure you can write, and these things observation you can write. Then L1 is perpendicular to L5. Similarly, L2 is perpendicular to L4, L2 is perpendicular to L5, etc., etc. All the things you can write. Similarly, L3 is perpendicular to L5, etc. And then if you write R, or you can say, because L1 is perpendicular to L5, L4 implies that L1 L4 belongs to R, L1 L5 belongs to R, right? L2 L4 belongs to R, or you can say L4 L2 belongs to R, etc., etc. All the things that you observe, you can write. Now you have to prove that this relation is symmetric. Symmetric means here L1 is perpendicular to L2 and perpendicular to L4, and L4 also can be set perpendicular to L1. So L1 comma L4 belongs to R, and also it implies that L4 comma L1 also belongs to R, right? So R is what? Symmetric. This relation, one symmetricity proved. Then for proving, actually you have to disprove that it is not reflexive, it is not transitive. So to not reflexive, had it been reflexive, then what things should be there? Can someone tell me? Anyone, any student? कि अगर ये रिफ्लेक्सिव होता तो इसमें क्या क्या होता? तो मुझे रिफ्लेक्सिव प्रूव करना ये नहीं है, तो मुझे क्या यहाँ पे दिखाना चाहिए? एनी स्टूडेंट्स, कोई मुझे बताए? Students, see, these all elements are there in this set. Yes, yes. So to prove reflexiveness, L1 comma L1 should be there in this relation which we wrote. L2 comma L2 should be there, L3 comma L3 should be there, L4 comma L4 should be there. But for that, L1 has to be perpendicular to L1, which is not there. So you have to write now that, note that इस पूरे रिलेशन में जितने भी आप परपेंडिकुलरिटी ऑब्जर्वेशंस आप लिखेंगे, वहां पे कभी भी नहीं आएगा कि L1 इज परपेंडिकुलर टू L1. तो L1 इज परपेंडिकुलर टू L1, मैंने उसको कट कर दिया, इज नॉट परपेंडिकुलर टू L1, implies L1 will never be in R. So R is not reflexive. Okay, and one more example if you want, you can write. And the third thing is that transitivity. Now tell me one example so that I can write that it is not transitive. Any one of you? Aman Hussain, will you tell me? Aman, are you listening? Or Achal Sharma?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Aman. I am asking that, tell me what should I write so that I can disprove that it is transitive.
L1, L2, L3.
I should take two ordered pairs which are there in R.
So L1, L4.
Yeah, like this you should take. L1 comma L4 belongs to R.
And L2 comma L5.
L4 comma L2 you can take. You have to take so that these two things should be common. L4 comma L2 belongs to R. But what?
L1, L2 does not belong.
L1 L2 does not belong to R. इसको ऐसे हवा में नहीं, इसको पूरी बात भी इसको प्रूफ करिए, इसको लिखिए कि भाई क्यों बिलोंग करता है और क्यों नहीं बिलोंग करता है. तो ये बिलोंग क्यों करता है? Because L1 is perpendicular to L4 and L4 is perpendicular to L2. You can check. But what about L1 and L2? Are they perpendicular? No, they are not perpendicular. So that is why this is happening, and hence R is not reflexive. And hence R is
transitive.
Sorry, not transitive. I'm sorry. R is not transitive. R is not transitive. समझे? So, and the last heading will be conclusion. Conclusion and objective both are same. Whatever was your objective, that you write conclusion. So it is verified that that R is reflexive, R is symmetric, but neither reflexive nor transitive. तो देखा आपने कितनी सिंपल थी एक्टिविटी एंड दीज आर द सेम थिंग्स which we have discussed, we have studied in our relations and function chapter. Only thing you have to uh, verify it, you have to write it, है ना. आप कहेंगे ये तो बहुत सिंपल है ना. एक्चुअली ये सेम वर्क है जो हम लोग अपने चैप्टर्स में किया है, एग्जाम्पल्स लिए हैं, बट यू हैव टू राइट. सो दिस कंप्लीट्स आवर एक्टिविटी 1 एंड quite similarly activity 2 is also there based on the same chapter but different. You can say जैसे different question है ना, कि इस question में 2 perpendicular lines थी, है ना, उस question में कुछ और होगा. So let us see activity 2. Yes, activity number 2. Here the objective is, here also these lines only will do. Let R is equal to 2 lines, ordered pair of 2 lines, such that L is parallel to M, where L and M are straight lines. Straight lines. ठीक है, एक प्लेन लिया, उसमें बहुत सारी स्ट्रेट लाइंस भरी पड़ी हैं. उस सेट में मैंने एक ये रिलेशन डिफाइन किया कि two lines will belong, the ordered pair containing 2 lines will belong to this relation when if they are parallel. This is to verify that this relation is equivalence relation, right? This will be reflexive also, symmetric also, and transitive also. We have to verify that this relation is an equivalence relation. Here also the same thing, basic knowledge you can write. Knowledge of relations, types of relations, then material needed. Material means same thing, pens, white paper, thread, pencil, scale, etc. That's it. Then procedure. In the procedure, you can write that make the points with the help of pins. First step. Then second step, that use thread and make the lines L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, etc. With the help of threads. Please you write properly. I'm not writing, I'm just giving you hint. Okay, this is only a hint, please. Students, right now you can only listen, and if needed you can note some points. Take your time, perform it fully, and then please note the things and all these headings in your record book. Right? So this is the time only to listen and only to note the things if needed. That is. Now observation. In last observation, these are up to here, everything is same. In the last activity, we wrote which 2 lines are perpendicular. Here you write which 2 lines are parallel. So I can see what I am observing, I am writing. L1 is perpendicular to, it is always right to say L1 is parallel to itself. Okay. Then L1 is parallel to L2 and L2 is parallel to L3, right? Of course, L2 parallel to L2 also and L3 parallel to L3 also. Okay. What more is remaining? L4 is parallel to L4. L5 is parallel to L5. And they are mutually parallel also. So L4 is parallel to L5. And so many things are there. नाउ जो भी आपको चीज प्रूव करनी थी, वेरीफाई करना था, मुझे प्रूव करना था कि दिस रिलेशन इज एन इक्विवेलेंस रिलेशन. सो नाउ फर्स्ट पॉइंट, दिस सब मैं ऑब्जर्वेशंस में लिख रहा हूं. नाउ फॉर रिफ्लेक्सिवनेस, वी सेक्शन स्टूडेंट्स, फॉर रिफ्लेक्सिवनेस मुझे यहाँ पे क्या क्या चीजें दिखानी चाहिए, जितने भी मेरे पास लाइंस हैं. एनी वन ऑफ यू, खुशी लोधी, कैन यू टेल मी दैट टू प्रूव इट रिफ्लेक्सिव, what things I should write? Are you there, Khushi Lodhi? Seems Khushi Lodhi is not there. She is not responding. Anyone else? Harsh? Yeah. Tell me, Nutan, tell me all the things that I need to write to prove that it is reflexive. Nutan. Yes. Yes. मैं दोनों ही बातें लिखूंगा. Note that L1 parallel to L1, so implies L1 comma L1 belongs to R. और कितने, इसी तरह मुझे सारे ही लिखने पड़ेंगे, है ना. ऑल्सो L2 parallel to L2, L3 parallel to L3, L4 parallel to L4, L5 parallel to L5. So it implies that L2 L2 comma L3 L3 comma L4 L4 comma L5 L5 belong to R. So R is what? Reflexive. This is. Now, second point, I have to prove that this relation is symmetric. So symmetricity, you 2-3 examples you write. You can check. Actually, we are verifying. Verifying में कितने लिखने ऐसा नहीं. अगर एक ट्रेंड है तो हम कुछ एग्जाम्पल लिख के बाकी सिमिलरली कर बोल सकते हैं. So it is actually verification. Symmetric. Symmetric means L1 is parallel to L2 and L2 is also parallel to L1. Means what? Means L1 comma L2 belongs to R, because every two lines, if they are parallel, their ordered pair will go in R. This is the definition of R. So L1 L2 belongs to R and L2 L1 also belongs to R. Similarly, others also you can write. L4 L5 belongs to R. So this also implies L5 comma L4 belongs to R, etc. So R is symmetric. Simple. And for transitivity, you know that we have to take two ordered pairs. You take it was point 2. These all things we are writing in observations only. Then point number 3, transitiveness. एनी टू, जो भी ऑब्जर्वेशंस में आपने जितने भी पैरेलल के ग्रुप बनाए हैं, एनी यू वंस यू टेक, है ना. L4 L5 में तो दो ही हैं, उसमें तो रिपीट करना पड़ेगा सेम ऑर्डर्ड पेयर. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट आई एम टेकिंग दिस L1 L2 L2 L3. दैट नोट दैट L1 या कुछ भी आप ले लीजिए, L1 L3 belongs to R and L3 L2 belongs to R. Because उसका रीजन भी लिखिए, because L1 is parallel to L3 and L3 is parallel to L2. L1 is parallel to L3, L3 is parallel to L2, and L1 will be parallel to L2 also. So I can write it implies that L1 comma L2 also belongs to R. And now if you read it properly, this proves that this relation is transitive. How? That L1 L3 belongs to R and L3 L2 belongs to R. It implies L1 L2 belongs to R. Right? So this proves, this is the definition of transitivity. So R is transitive. And in conclusion, R is an equivalence relation. And R means parallelness. Parallelness is an equivalence relation. So here, these two activities are based on same concept, types of relation, equivalence relation, and almost same work, same example we took, and we proved that perpendicularness was symmetric but not reflexive, not transitive, while parallelness, ये वाला relation रिफ्लेक्सिव भी है, सिमेट्रिक भी है, ट्रांजिटिव भी है. बेहद आसान है, बहुत इजी है. ओनली थिंग यू हैव टू राइट. So please do complete it, and I can show you one more thing, that you need not to worry for anything. I'll provide you the um, some students ask whether we need to purchase any book. No, I'll provide you the text, that pages of book also I have scanned. I can show you. 1 minute just. Yeah, I hope it should be visible to B section students and A and C section students also. Can, yes, yes. Now it should be visible to A and C section students also. So I'll provide you this copy of this file. Okay, in Google Classroom only I'll give you. So you can see this relation, to verify this relation, and prerequisite, knowledge, material, procedure, figures they have given in the steps. These all things you can perform in the left side blank page of your record book, right? And instead of any extra paper, on the same paper you can do pins. You can attach simple pins, right? Otherwise, some points you can mark simply with the, if you are using pencil. This is the figure you can see. Can make it bigger. So observations, as we discussed, the same kinds of observations have been noted. This is. Then, as per your requirement, whatever you have to prove, you have to prove it is not reflexive. You can write your logic. You can quote certain examples. Similarly, for symmetricity and transitivity. Yes. Then it was activity number 1. Activity number 2 is also similar, to verify the relation. This L parallel to M is an equivalence relation. So you can see the same thing, almost same thing. And here in the example, they have taken two more lines, L6 and L8. L7, three more lines they have taken. Okay. So we took only up to 5. Doesn't matter. You can take as many lines as you wish. This is, yes. Now, I think it's, if we can complete, discuss one more activity. So all the students, just listen carefully. One more activity, and after that we'll conclude today's session. So, yeah. So, activity 3 is objective. Now, this is from inverse trigonometric functions. This activity is to draw the graph of sine inverse x with the help of sine x graph using the concept of inverse function or mirror image concept, you can say. पहले तो मुझे ये बताया कि is there any student who knows how to draw the graph of an inverse function? Is there any student? Suppose this is the graph of fx. Suppose this is fx. I want to draw f inverse graph. So is there any way? किसी को पता है इस क्लास में? Is there any way how to draw inverse function? Anyone? This is x-axis. कोई? Friends, चलो मैं बता देता हूँ। इनवर्स फंक्शन का ग्राफ ड्रॉ करने के लिए क्या करते हैं कि पहले एफ एक्स का ग्राफ आपको पता होना चाहिए, ठीक है। सपोज ये एफ एक्स का ग्राफ है। इनवर्स फंक्शन का ग्राफ ड्रॉ करने के लिए आपको एक लाइन ड्रॉ करना है y इक्वल टू एक्स लाइन। y इक्वल टू एक्स लाइन आपके, हाँ, y इक्वल टू एक्स लाइन फर्स्ट और थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट को बाइसेक्ट करती है। तो ड्रॉ कर लीजिए y इक्वल टू एक्स लाइन, ठीक है। अब क्या करना है, अब इसका मिरर इमेज ले लेना है इस लाइन के अबाउट। यस, यस, मिरर इमेज इस कर्व का इस लाइन के अबाउट ले लीजिए, कुछ ऐसा दिखेगा बस, ठीक है। ये हो गया। अगर मैं बाकी ग्राफ्स को हल्का कर दूं, लाइट कर दूं और इसको डार्क कर दीजिए, बस ये हो गया आपका एफ इनवर्स, एफ इनवर्स का ग्राफ। तो एफ इनवर्स का ग्राफ समझ में आया हम कैसे? You can mute yourself. Yes. Divyansh, you can mute yourself. Divyansh, you can mute yourself. Yeah, students. So this is the way how we draw the graph of inverse function, right? Now, uh, we have to apply this on sine inverse, sine x graph. No problem, do it. So basic knowledge. Inverse function concept you should know. Of course, graph of sine x also you should know. Right. Then material needed. Not much, only graph paper. Because sine x and sine inverse x both you may need, so sketches of different colors. Pencil scale to chahiye. That is. Then procedure.
सर फिर इसमें
What
ग्राफ
you,
पेपर चिपकाएंगे क्या सर?
what you need to do, you take graph paper. Yes, any doubt to anyone?
इसमें ग्राफ पेपर चिपकाएंगे या फिर पीछे जो ग्राफ आता है उसमें बनाएंगे?
I would suggest, because जब आप first activity, second activity, third activity in the same sequence only you will write. So in a separate graph you draw and stick it there. Best.
ओके सर.
हाँ. So this is now what you do. You take graph paper, make your XY axis. ये वर्क तो सबसे पहले, ठीक है. Neat and clean work should be there. So you can use pencil and scale. Now what you do, you need to mark your point. In a graph paper I am saying, because you mark exactly 0. You need to take pi by 6, pi by 3, pi by 4, etc. Pi by 4, then pi by 3, and then pi by 2, 90 degree. Okay, this is suppose 1. Now draw the graph of sine x. Pi by 2 is 1. Similarly in minus also you take minus pi by 6, minus pi by 4. On proper length you can take minus pi by 3, then minus pi by 2. Let it be minus 1. Okay. Now you make the points. Then 60 degrees, sine 60 is how much? And you can draw a table also to plot this graph. That x sine x 0, pi by 6. These all things you write. Then pi by 4, sine pi by 4 is 1 upon root 2. These values you find first. Pi by 4, pi by 3, pi by 2. Sine pi by 3 is root 3 by 2. Root 3 is 1.7 by 2, 0.8 something will come. So something like this it will come. And then join with a smooth curve. Similarly, negatives also you can mark the points and join them with a smooth curve. Okay. Now what you do, now you draw a line y equal to x, because y equal to x line is not the part of our curve, so only dotted line will draw. Okay. or if you are using a sketch to draw this sine, you can darken it with a sketch also. Then sine x curve, you y equal to x curve, you don't darken it. Only keep drawing with pencil only, that too with light pencil. Y equal to x curve. Dotted line I'm using. This is y equal to x line. It will pass from here. 1 comma 1 will be a solution, and minus. No, this is pi by 2 comma 1. It may not pass. Whatever. Then what you do, you take a plane mirror. Of course, in the material we need a mirror also. Yeah. So now what you do, you take a mirror and you put on the line y equal to x line, right? So of this, if the side mirror side is in front of this curve, its image you will see here in the mirror, right? One. And similarly, if the plane mirror side is towards this graph, its image you will see on the other side, and that will be just on the other side of y equal to x line, right? And that will be somewhat like this, that you can see in the mirror and you can draw with different color sketch. ठीक है, मैं इसको डार्कन कर देता हूँ जिससे थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे मेरे ग्राफ में डिफरेंस तो आपको फील हो. Yeah, this will be the graph of sine inverse x. ध्यान रहे इसको फर्दर प्रोड्यूस नहीं करना है, साइन इनवर्स बस इतना ही होता है. उसकी रेंज होती है -1 to -π/2 to π/2. Sine inverse lies between that only. So this is the graph of final sine inverse function, and conclusion you can write, this is the graph of sine inverse function is ready. Right? Understood, students? You can verify, you can check in the mirror image of sine x, and you can draw it with different color sketch. I can show you on your screen also how that looks. Right? देख लीजिए कैसे लिखा है. Yeah, students. You can see this is the activity. This objective to draw the graph of sine inverse x using the sine x graph. Then material as was, they have written some hardboard, taken some hardboard. We will do on our notebook only, the left side page only graph sheet you may need. Then mark the points. These all points they have marked. Then this table, if you make it, will help you. Why? Because sine pi by 6 is half. So solve it first and then plot. Sine pi by 4 is 1 upon root 2. So 1 upon 1.414. Like that, you solve it first, 0.71, bring it in decimal, and then you plot it there. Right? And instead of randomly putting any point, not like that. Root 3 by 2, 0.87, solve it, and then you plot the graph. Now you can see that this graph is appearing. Right? This is a bit rotated, but you can see that this graph, the figure that is shown here, yes, this is the graph of sine inverse x. Which one? On the book, both are looking from both they have drawn from almost same color. One is bit maroon, one is bit orange. But you please use different color so that sine inverse x should be clearly visible. Correct, students? और उसको थोड़ा डार्क कर दीजिएगा मोटी लाइन, so that there should not be any confusion. So this was about our third activity. Thank you, students. Now I conclude this session for today.